Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the video that you've just seen about Macmillan courses for 2019. If you would like more information, you can go to visit the catalogue online at www.macmillaneducation.es. You can also contact your local office and ask your local rep to give you more information about these courses, so please do avail of that service. And now I would like to welcome Yvonne back again, and she is going to now talk to us about performance in the English classroom.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's nice. This is a nice topic because we mainly move on to like using primary. It can be used for infants as well. And I think that as most English teachers, we often have a fear about doing any kind of performance, and we save it for the end of term. And we also feel quite pressurised to do it in a prescribed way. So this talk is going to look at how you can do it more informally and get the children to participate in the whole process of the performance. So first, it might be a good way to start by saying, how often do your pupils work towards a presentation? And this can be for various reasons, for assessment, for enjoyment, but let's get some feedback on that first. Yeah.
Yes, so people are answering quite quickly. We'll just give you a couple of seconds to answer that question. How often do your pupils work towards a presentation of their work to others? And it seems like a majority are saying once a month at the moment. I mean, things are changing a little bit. And after that, once a year, and quite a bit less, once a week, more than once a week. Well, once a week it's going up to 19%, and more than once a week, well, is less than that. So there's a varied. Certainly people are not saying it's every week. The majority of people
so I
are
imagine
more than
that
once a week.
Some of them are referring to doing a presentation about a topic or maybe a PowerPoint, something like that, which again is something that the children are doing autonomously and enjoying the whole process as well. So it's good that we have an idea of what's happening in the classroom. So if we look at doing an English performance, this is something that teachers may say here is, you know, I just don't know where to start.
Yes.
And also, sometimes when you present children in your class with a script, a lot of words in English, it's immediately, oof, I don't know whether I can do this. They are confronted with a huge task. So, and teachers also, first thing they think about is, how am I going to manage this in the time I have within my 45 minutes or my 1 hour, my 2.5 hours? However, doing a performance is one of the best ways of assessing language.
Absolutely.
And also it helps the children that do feel they have an artistic flair to come forward and present that.
Yes, yes.
So let's have a look about...
Let's see what you have to say. Do you feel the same as this teacher? What worries do you have? We'll give you a couple of seconds to write in some answers to that. Like the teacher there, I think, well, particularly when I started teaching, I really did not have very much of a clue how I would start, and I was worried about. I was worried about the whole process. I think there's quite a bit that you need to take into account.
And it's also the size of your class that you have to manage as well. It's not like you're working with a small group. If you're working with 25, 30 children, how do you get them all to participate in something that some of them may not really like at all? Exactly.
Yeah. And I think people are saying the same here. There are comments coming in where people are saying, yes, it can be daunting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why people don't do it so often. More comments, children have problems to get the concept.
Yes.
So maybe there's a...
Language.
Yes, language.
Yeah.
It's... Normally we don't have a lot of time to do that with 25 kids or more. There might be behavioural issues and yes, time and just not knowing how to start, how to get going, how to manage it?
Okay, so this is quite a good place to start, that we're looking at where the teachers feel they can't. So let's have a look. And here we have some typical responses of we have here. The large groups, difficult to do it physically in the class sometimes as well. And the mixed ability, this is where teachers worry about the language. Our children just learning their lines for performance verbatim, and they don't really understand the context. So that's quite sad, really. It's a missed opportunity. And of course, shyness, that performing in front of your friends. So try and make it a safe area as well. And the biggest issue that teachers have is the lack of time. So what we're going to look at is how you can perhaps organise a performance and use it as a tool to develop language, and also looking at the children's ability and getting that into the performance as well. So let's start. The advantages of devising a performance. So what we're going to do is say, well, we'll use it as a tool within the class so that children can think about a way to do it. It comes from the children. So as we mentioned earlier, starting with the children, they have ownership of it, and of course they're going to do more. What we may find is that they have to initially do this in their own language. And it can be done within a classroom. It can be done as a collaborative idea. It can be done working in groups, looking at different things. Again, you can do it without changing anything of the dynamics in the class, which is another good. Also, you can give it a short period of time per class. You can say we're going to end the class with 10 minutes working on how we're going to organise our performance. And then that can be a great way for motivating children to get through what they have to do in the class, to work on something they want to do. And as the children are participating, you will see the creativity move out. You can imagine, as we mentioned, about using mind maps. For something like this, it would be amazing.
Absolutely.
And you're then being able to use the concept of language or drawing what you want to do. And as the children are creating what they want to put in the performance organically, as you can see here, they will remember how they want to deliver it and what they want to use, the language structures. So again, it's making it all organic, which ultimately ties in very well to the last session where we were talking about learning style. It's coming together to work as one. So it does work very well. So where do we start with? Now, many of us would probably think if you listen to a piece of music or you look at a photograph, it evokes some kind of emotion. So this is where we could start in the class, by listening to various sounds, getting the feedback from the children, using that opportunity to create a word bank on the board maybe, so the children are giving you their language.
Could use mind maps
as well,
to map the
even
thoughts.
Even if you wanted to tie it into what you were doing in English language, using a photograph or a painting, getting the feedback there. And again, it's what children feel and what they see. And in primary, even with small children, they have some opinion. You know, they have some opinion. Or a theme, and that could tie in very well with science. So you're looking at a multifaceted way of devising this, and also, again, for an assessment tool, teachers are able to pick up the key vocabulary, not from the unit the children have just done, but maybe what they did 5 months ago, and you think, well, that's got in there. So this is a great way to think of a performance is going to come from the children are working, and we've got a process going. Okay, so I might need your help here.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, we're going to look at a photo in a little bit, and I'd like you to just imagine you are the child in the class, and you're going to think about what is behind the photo, what is the story. So this is a good place to start in the classroom, in that you have your image, which is a visual cue, and we can start looking at language. Brainstorm ideas and explore the theme and its practicalities. Because again, it's going to be asking children to think of something that is probably totally impossible, and we have to make it possible. So we're problem solving.
Okay.
So as you were moving on, we're seeing
Yes,
lots and lots and
of
lots of skills that are coming
coming
into this performance.
to play in
Okay.
this, absolutely.
So here we have a beautiful photo, an absolutely beautiful photo. And tell me first of all what you can see. We're looking at the language here. What can you see? What can we
I can see the sea, and in the sea I can see. Oh, it looks like a whale. Or a dog. Yeah, no, it's a whale.
Yeah.
And there is a big boat in the sea, and all around the boat we can see lots of birds. Like they could be. Yeah, lots of birds, seagulls.
Yeah.
Maybe there are a lot of fish moving
So,
in the water.
looking at this, we're not only on about what we can see, we are thinking about what might be happening.
Yes.
So again, modals, I'm keeping thinking of language.
Yes.
What could have happened before? What could have happened after? So we're constructing our performance. And we could think of the music that could give the effect of the ocean or the whale, the movement that the children are doing. Yeah. And so it's falling into place. And what kind of theme do you think this could, just if you had a chance to put this to a theme, what would you put it to?
Looking after the sea.
Looking after the sea, it could be an environmental project.
Looking after animals.
Looking after animals, yeah. So again, can you imagine how the children using their knowledge that they have collaboratively think of how this storyline could move along. Now one of the good things is about this is that you can go back and revisit, or you can picture frame around it. I could imagine that having something like this, you could then add other images of the whales, of the sea. So and that characters, yeah. So as the story is extending, you can find the visual cues to extend it again, as it were. So I think this is a really good way of starting.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is
just
amazing.
One picture.
Yeah.
How it can frame the.
But it could be music. It could be music. Yeah.
It could indeed.
It could be music, or it could be a statement. It could be a statement.
Yes.
That would work better with older children.
With older children,
yeah,
maybe
with older children.
5 and 6.
Yeah. So this is a lovely way to get started. And what we're going to think about is planning, because once the children have worked towards this, you could make it quite a short little project, or you could make it something that is probably at the end of term. And I think that if you were going to make it something for the end of the term, it would be really lovely to document the process.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Not only for a personal journey of the class, but so that the parents, the audience, could see how it became a working process. And also, it says here about an hour a week for one term. Now that might be difficult for some teachers that only have a few hours a week of teaching, but as I mentioned before, we can put that into blocks of 10 minutes perhaps. And I bet if you started something like this, children would be organically looking for stuff at home to contribute towards it as well. And one way to facilitate, because a big issue for schools is facilitating a performance. I mean, do you think that all performances need to have costumes?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean it's quite a. It can be quite stressful, can't it, for parents, for example, having to get the right costumes or make costumes. It's an expense that perhaps is unnecessary. And maybe we can encourage the children's creativity in other ways, to use their bodies.
I would say so, yeah, and even expression.
Expression and the linguistic side. And perhaps they might want to make some props, but they could be made, you know, in the sort of arts and crafts kind of style. But I don't see costumes as being an absolutely fundamental
I think we're trying to get children to use their voice and intonation and actually their body and movement. So that's a possible thing. And also, we have here on the slide, you'll see it says open rectangle. And in fact, it's not a rectangle.
Okay.
And what it is we've got two short lines and one long line. And this is your theatre. So whereas many schools have not the space, they may not even have a theatre, we can make your own theatre where you have the children sitting down. And this also gives the opportunity for the children that want to do the backstage work, being visible and participating in their own way.
Okay.
And it works quite nicely if you have the children sitting in a uniform way, perhaps cross-legged. That's the area you work in, a little bit like the Romans and the Greeks used to do, have their little areas.
Yeah, the chorus. And
and the children get up when their part is on. So this rectangle can be anywhere.
Okay.
So it's a mobile theatre, if you like. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
About assigning roles. I mean,
I think that's something the children would automatically do. However, as the teacher who is navigating all the children, you may have children within the class that are fairly dominant, and you'd like to give other children the part. So it would be then you as the teacher to help navigate, let's see how, if there is a dominant child, and there always one who is a great actor, a great, maybe pairing up, maybe pairing up the role, or helping a weaker one pair sharing the role or something like that. And again, once a child has the opportunity to try something, they may like it. I do recognise that there's shy children who find it difficult, but then using the open rectangle, they are visible, but not in the same prominent way. And they're participating in the whole performance.
And that ties in with what you were saying earlier in your previous talk about attending to diverse needs. And giving opportunities to be, but in a safe context, to be maybe, or to behave in ways that you would not know, or what the child would not normally do, but in a safe context.
And it's true that there are many famous actors who take them out of their profession, are very quiet people, so you don't know. And also we have here about activities in unison. So going right back to the beginning, where the children have designed this, they have worked together, they're working in unison. We want to see that on stage as well, where they're bringing it forward and creating this almost like a wave of the performance once again. And getting used to space, working in space. Most of the time children are sitting down, and it's lovely. Again, going back to these gross motor skills and fine motor skills, how we can get them interacting with each other. And props. If you don't have a prop, you make out you're using a prop. So,
mime.
And another thing that comes to mind is body language, that confidence that you'll have, the confidence in moving on with that. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Now that we've gone through looking at how it can possibly be done in chunks, how it can possibly be linked to English language and assessment, you get a product at the end. And again, this can be mapped, so it's a nice visual display. How would you teachers feel about devising a performance like this?
Okay, so this is another have you say question. The question will appear on your screen now, and we'll give you a couple of seconds to write in your answers. Please do. Well, I feel personally more confident. I think what has impressed me most is the focus on process. You mentioned at the end, there's a product, but it isn't the product that is the main focus.
The process.
It's the whole process and building and starting. I found it quite interesting when you talked about generating the ideas with the children, brainstorming and using, all these different tools and thinking skills and organizing information, organizing ideas, mind mapping.
Well, these are
basically
skills.
you're demonstrating the whole process
and these
that's involved
are
in doing
skills for
something
life,
like this.
really. These are skills
Yes.
for life, really. And you look at most jobs now, it's a case of where you have to work in the team or problem solve together. So using this kind of process is very important as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Not only for English language, but it can be used for other areas of the curriculum
for other
too.
areas as well. Yes.
Yeah, so we will see whether you would like to try it within your
Okay. Well,
performance.
there are some answers coming in. I think, like me, a lot of people seem to be saying that they feel more confident now.
I think if you talk through
Yes.
the process and think about it, it doesn't come to, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to find something suitable that will fit with my children's level of English, something that will fit in with the time scale we have. What we are saying is, think about it as part of your teaching curriculum
Exactly.
of putting this in. And I remember that the end of term was quite important for parents as well. They want to see
yes, they want to see
yeah.
the result.
Yeah, so I mean it is
yeah,
quite...
no, exactly.
Yeah, so I think also it's from the point of view of language assessment. If I would like to mention that sometimes these ideas have to come through the mother tongue, and then the children look for a context using
Exactly.
English on how to present
Exactly.
it, and then you can guide them with using the level of English
You
that would
can,
be
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And I mean this works very well with children as they're becoming very confident
Okay.
with language.
Okay, so there's some more answers coming in. I would love to give it a try at some point.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And another person saying that they feel more confident
Good.
now.
That's really nice. That's nice to know if you look at it in that way. Yeah.
That's really good. That's important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, and anybody else? Let me see. It's highly motivating activity.
It
well,
is,
it's more than
yeah.
one activity, isn't it?
It
Because
is,
it's
yeah.
building up. It's that process.
Yeah, and I think that if you think about it in the way it's been explained, it does have value to it.
Yes.
You're not doing it just to tick off a box at the end of the year or once a month. I've done that. But these, as I said, these are skills that we can apply to so many other areas.
Exactly.
As the children move up
Exactly.
in their learning journey. And again, hopefully, the children are using these grammar structures, these language, everything that we've put our hearts into teaching them, and it's coming through on the...
Exactly. So those are great ideas. Thank you, everybody, and thank you. You seem excited. People are saying, I feel more confident, excited, I'm motivated. That's what we like to hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear. Okay, well, now we're going to give you a couple of minutes, again, to send in any questions or comments that you have. This session, I think in this session, Yvonne was talking about different levels as well and different ages.
Yeah.
There are some activities which are more appropriate to certain age groups. So obviously you know your classes better than anybody.
Yeah.
And these ideas will need adapting depending on your context.
Yeah.
There are other issues such as the physical environment,
Space,
physical space, and there might be, I think the previous talk that you gave also, being sensitized to the different needs, learning needs within the classroom, I think.
And also another point is that through fantasy and imagination, children learn the rules of life as well. You know, a lot of the stuff that they know, they apply. So within that safe environment, they can test out these. You can have a hypothetical argument. You can be aggressive and look at how. So it's a safe area.
Yes.
So
people are saying thank you very much once again for your great ideas. This has been really interesting. They would like to hope to see you again soon.
Oh,
so we'll have to get you back, Yvonne.
Well.
And thanks, Yvonne, for your advice and motivating ideas. These ideas have been great, and really, you've been great as an audience. You've participated. It's really important. That's what we want. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So YVONNE, all that I can say is thank you so much for doing 2 sessions back to back, and for sharing your insights, for sharing your ideas, your many years' experience. It's been a real pleasure, and it's been a real pleasure to spend this 1.5 hours with you, the audience. Thank you so much.